Hi YouTube, Art here with another Call of Duty audio video, and in today's video I have a set of updated settings for Season 2. Now, when I dropped Season 1, they were just kind of a port over of the settings that I've been using in Warzone 2, adjusted for the new game. So the last couple weeks I've been spending some time learning through some content as well as testing in map on Urzikstan, in Fortune's Keep, in Ranked, in pubs, you name it, I've tested it. I've tested a bunch of different headsets. That result will be coming in a different video, but in today's video, we're gonna introduce a retune for each of your headsets, as well as some updated general settings. So before we get into that, what you do need to do is you need to have followed one of the two guides. So if you don't have any hardware, you're starting from scratch, you just have your headset and your PC, you need to follow the 42-minute audio guide, which I've linked down below. Now, if you have an Elgato piece of hardware, like a Wavelink piece of hardware, Stream Deck Plus, Wave Mic, or a Wave XLR, you can follow the Wavelink guide, which is also linked in the description. Once you follow those guides and you've installed all of that, step by step, don't skip anything, come back here and we'll continue. If you already have the tune installed, disregard, we can continue on. Before we really get into it, I wanted to give a quick shout out to GadgetryTech Joe. I watched this video, it was suggested to me a bunch on Twitter and on Discord, so I gave it a watch. Really excellent video. I'm gonna link his channel and this video down below. I watched this and I learned a lot. What he's done in this is created a normalized EQ target and uses a bunch of different tools to get there. The idea of EQing for everybody's headset, which is he's doing here, he kind of finds what your headset is, he finds his target, and then he meets the two in the middle. I had heard of this, I'm thick-headed, and also relatively new, and I didn't really engage with it. I was so focused on making the tune that I was making with the 7.1 and the loudness EQ cheese that I never really thought that, oh, you know, maybe the baseline of a headset is different from one to the next. I would always suggest, oh, get a better headset, which is still a great recommendation. A better headset will have better resolution and will be clearer than a set of Astros for sure, but we can even the playing field a little bit more, and that's what he's doing here. So I have found through the Auto EQ project, which is what he's referencing in his video as well, there is a direct Hisuvi implementation. And if you open Hisuvi and you go to the equalizer tab, you will see that for front, you can choose an equalizer here. Select equalizer for front connection. And my list is going to be a lot longer than the list you currently have installed. Don't worry, I'll walk you through the steps of updating that. But what these EQ settings do is they will take whatever the frequency response of your headphones are and align them with a frequency response that we call the Harman target. The Harman target is supposedly one of the many neutral targets that people aim for, but is supposedly what most people find pleasing to hear. What we're going to use it for is a baseline, a common denominator to take everybody's headset to then apply my EQ presets to. So people should have a more unified experience. I've tested this. I have a box full of IEMs. I got some Astros. I have Bear Dynamics. I spent a whole day going from headset to IEM to headset to IEM and changing these EQ settings here to see how unified the experience was, and it was really good. So once more, huge shout out to GadgetryTech Joe, for this great video and really being that inspiration that made me look into Auto EQ. If you're not really tracking, that's fine. You're gonna get all the instructions here in a second. Like I said though, you had to have followed the previous guide. And to make it easy, I've included a Google Drive link down below to a folder that includes all the files that we'll need today, the updated config files, as well as the Hisuvi presets that I talked about from the Audio EQ project. Now, if you want to download those yourself and not use all of them, I will also include a link to the GitHub repository where you can download the raw.zip file yourself. If you've already followed the guides before, this guide is going to be very simple. You want to download that file from my Google Drive, extract the zip file, and inside you're to find two folders labeled Step 1 and Step 2. Step 1 is going to be the Hisuvi Auto EQ presets. These are going to be the Oratory 1990 presets where the measurements of headphones were taken. We're going to go into that folder. Inside there will be a folder called Hisuvi, and inside that there will be a folder called EQ. You want to copy this folder. I hit Control-C. You can also right-click and copy. And we're going to want to go to a very specific directory on the PC. I already have it open here, but I'll show you where it is. It's on your C drive. program files, equalizer APO, config, Hisuvi. Now you have a folder in here already called EQ, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click and you're gonna paste. And Windows is going to copy those files in. If it finds any duplicates, it's gonna ask you if you want to replace that. You wanna make sure, of course, Hisuvi is not open while you do this. I should have said that first. It'll ask if you wanna replace these files. You hit yes, you're gonna let it replace these files. It'll take some time, let it do its thing. Once it's done, we'll move on to the next step. After you've copied all those new profiles in, we're gonna wanna go up a directory here to the config folder. This is where we're gonna place these new config files, which I have, but you will not. So we'll go back to the download directory here. This is that folder you downloaded and unzipped. And step 2 folder, you'll find 2 config files. You'll find config.txt and you'll find ArtIsWar_WZ3_season2v1. This is just in case I update anything down the line with slight tweaks. This is just version 1. You'll right click and copy both of those. We're to go back over to C, program files, equalizer APO config, and we're to paste these files in. It's gonna ask you if you wanna replace them. You click yes. That is the end of that. That is all we need to do for moving things around. Now that we have all the files where we need them, we're gonna go ahead and enable some of the parts of the config files. So we'll go to the Windows search bar, we'll search for configuration editor, again, part of equalizer APO. You'll wanna ignore this error. We don't need to apply it to the default device. If you follow the guide correctly, you should only have equalizer APO installed on the Arttoon. You'll see here 2 line items, Hisuvi, which applies the Hisuvi instructions, and then my extra set of tuning here, which is my season 2 tuning. Now, you'll want to hit the blue open button at the top, and you'll want to select the new config here for season 2, hit open. Inside of it, at the bottom, you want to hit open panel, check apply automatically here, hit apply and OK, and do that for the other plugin here, apply automatically, apply, OK. Once that's done, you can close this window and you can close this window. Now, the next step is going to be picking the right equalizer for your headphones. So you're gonna wanna do this for the front connector. This is the default virtualization that happens inside of Hisuvi. So because we dragged that file here, you're gonna have a whole list of headphones. For me, I'm using the Kiwi Ears Orchestra Lights. So from the list, I'll find Kiwi Ears, and then I'll find Orchestra Lights. And here is the corrective EQ that will bring it to a neutral starting place so that the EQ that I add to it in that configuration file applies more equally across the board for people with different headsets. So scroll through that list, find your headset. Once it says it here and you see it say it here, you are good to go. There are absolutely no changes here inside of Hisuvi outside of applying that equalizer. Now, if you change headsets, you can scroll through and choose the new headset. I was doing this while live testing. Like I said, I tried a litany of headsets from $500 IEMs to $18 Sony earbuds and some Astro A40s, which were the worst of the bunch, by the way. More on that in a future video. But I was able to get them all loosely to the same place. So I really hope that this step really brings an even playing field to people with a variety of headsets. Once that's done, you can close this window. The remainder of the settings we'll be doing in the game. Now, before we get into the in-game settings, which I think are some of the most exciting changes that I've found recently, I wanted to make a couple quick remarks about the audio in general. The #1 complaints I get in the comments, I get in chat, are that boxes and streaks are too loud. Now, the problem with loot chests to begin with is the sound that they make is all on the lower third of the sound spectrum, so it's very bassy. That also happens to be where most of the footsteps are. So if I were to go in and try to lower that frequency, you would also lose footsteps. That is the only way I can manipulate audio, contrary to what some very, very unintelligent people in my comments on the internet will tell you. I cannot go in and excise a sound. I don't have a digital scalpel to turn down boxes or streaks. All I can do is address a certain frequency. If I were to lower chests, you would lose footsteps. That's not my job. I would rather big boy pants the sound of chests than lose footsteps whatsoever. Now, for streaks are even harder, specifically precisions, because the sound that a precision makes kind of covers the whole gamut. It has a low rumble, it has a high screech. Now, in this updated audio tune that we just applied, I did address some of that biting screech that happens, but there's only so much I can do before I feel like I'm costing detail and volume of footsteps. So it's really something you gotta control your expectations about, because there's only so much I can do. Another special note about Fortune's Keep, and it is part of what that new setting we're to talk about in-game addresses, there is just this inordinately loud ocean sound. It sounds like I'm at SeaWorld when I'm playing that map. And that's the big problem with Warzone in general. They're obsessed with adding like an immersive audio track, and oftentimes that gets in the way of our competitive audio. So when we talk about in-game settings, we're to address that a little bit, but there's only so much I can do because the key component of what makes footsteps louder is a compressor. So quiet things are made louder. One of those quiet underlying things is the wind. If you watch any streamer that just uses loudness EQ, they're going to have the exact same problem. Now, also about Fortune's Keep, I think it suffers the same problems that Urzaxstan did when it first came out. The audio occlusion map, or how you hear people through things and around things, is very unfinished. I'm currently Diamond 1. I've barely been playing Ranked. I don't really like Little Map. I don't really like Ranked. I'm too old. And I just get crept up on, no deady, no explanation, all of the time. It really feels like the map is unfinished. So I really think people should, again, kind of temper their expectations there, because I don't know how finished that map is. There was a lot of surprise deaths on that map for me for audio cues, and that wind sound is terrible. So now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and hop in-game for some in-game settings. So in-game, as you'd expect, we're going to go to options, and we're going to go to audio. Now, Art Tune Windows default, that's all going to stay the same. In master volume, there is no magic number for master volume. I set mine to 100 because I control it on my Go XLR, or I control it on my Stream Deck. This will be whatever your ears need it to be. If it's too loud, lower the master volume. This isn't a magic slider. Nobody's gonna tell you, dude, set it to 66, it's the secret sauce. It doesn't work that way. It's volume on the TV, set it to what you need it to. What you do not want to mess with, though, is effects volume. This is directly correlated to footsteps and audio cues in the game. You lower this, you will lose audio cues. Leave this at 100. As you can see, I've had enough of the dialogue, and I have lowered it all the way to 14. Now, if you were paying attention, you can see at the top here, I am running cinema. Now, this was even surprising to me. While I was doing the testing and refining of the audio tune, I tried every single audio preset, or audio mix, rather, in the game. And I wanted to see what was the best balance of sounds normal, has the most directionality, and has the best indication of where people are on the map. When I was playing PC speaker or headphones, I could hear everything, but my sense of where they were in space was really, really poor, especially when it came to verticality. Now, what I have done and what I have been running religiously has been cinema. Now, this says it has the highest dynamic range, which means it's the least compressed by the game. And what have we learned about how the game handles audio? It doesn't do a very good job. We love Warzone 3. It has some growing pains, and one of them is audio. And I really think that some of the compression that happens in PC speakers and headphones is just kind of chalking your ability to tell how far away things are. So I sent it, and for about 2 weeks, I've been changing between home theater and cinema, and I really like it, especially on IEMs. For me, especially in solos, I'll show some clips here at the end so you can kind of get an idea of what it sounds like. I can tell very well where someone is, how far away they are, what direction they're moving with cinema, because the game itself is not augmenting the volume, and it's allowing loudness EQ, the 7.1 mix, the EQ for your headset now, as well as the compressors that I have configured inside of Equalizer APO to do its job to tailor the audio and tune the audio. And I really think that this unadulterated mix of cinema out of the game is the cleanest yet. But your mileage may vary. I did throw on some headsets during the testing, like Astros and Bear Dynamic, and I wasn't as impressed with cinema on those headsets, but I think it is just because I really prefer IEMs. And like I said, and I hinted to before, we're gonna have a whole hardware roundup on those, as well as a video on the DAC amp combo that has 7.1 support here in a couple days on the channel. But For me, really try cinema. Give it a shot. I really think it is something different. And if it is too quiet or too weird for you, you can bump it up. I really do think if you give cinema a solid week of try, let me know in the comments below if you do think this is better. I think the biggest thing about the cinema preset in game is it makes loot chests quieter by quite a bit. You can toggle between PC speaker and cinema while standing next to one in game. You'll see a huge difference. I suggest you try it. It also helps, especially on Fortune's Keep, lower ambient sound. So that SeaWorld background noise I was talking about at the beginning really helps lower that. On the big map, when you're next to an air conditioning unit or a buzzing light, cinema is much, much, much quieter for those things. Now, gunshots are still gonna be loud, streaks are still gonna be loud on cinema. Those things are just kind of loud. But the amount of difference between a footstep far away and close on cinema really helps me place a person better on the map, and I'd really like to know what y'all think of it. I'm gonna leave you guys with a couple sample clips from a solo session I had the other day on stream, just kind of finalizing some of the settings and testing out different headsets. I'm live a lot over on twitch.tv/art_is_war. Let me know in the comments down below what audio mix you guys end up using, and if you did like cinema. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell so you know when I upload that video about that 7.1 DAC. As always, if this is too intimidating or you don't want to do it yourself, you'd rather just pay me to do it, there is a booking link to a Calendly page below where you can book 30 minutes with me. I will set up the entire guide from start to finish with these updated tweaks. You'll also get access to the client side of my Discord where you'll get ongoing support and discounted rates for future appointments. And until the next one, enjoy the gameplay. Peace. Dude, there are way too many selves in solos.
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
I heard this guy, chat. There's a guy close to me. Do you hear what sounds like somebody crushing tin cans? There's somebody in this building here.
Primary objective complete. All targets eliminated. We lost the contract. You got a loadout drop inbound. Gas is closing in. Get to the new safe zone.
I mean, chat, that I could tell where he was because of the audio cues. You know what I mean? I heard metal, and then I heard cement. And I knew it was safe. Woo! Didn't hear that, though.
strike inbound.
Hijo de tu puta madre.
Both of you. Not a chance. And we're having an existential discussion in chat.
Gas is inbound, marking a new safe zone. Almost up. Finish the mission.
What?
Let's go! What the f is that endgame? What was that? What the f
All
was
teams,
that?
extraction is inbound.
Oh, dude. Let the guy kill the riot shielder for me? Let's go. Easy claps.